really good stuff. My name is Ryan Flaco Rising. I'm a current PhD student at UC Irvine. And today I'm going to be talking about coming from the prison yard and into my PhD. And I'm going to look at how prison prepared myself for this journey. And I'm looking at the prison politics and everything that I experienced in my upbringing being incarcerated since the age of 12. So, I'm locked up at the age of 12 years old. But it started younger than that. It started at the age of 6 when they said that I had ADHD. They started to give me all these different pharmaceutical drugs, and I became like a test subject for this new ADHD that they were putting all of us kids underneath. So my school experience, I was on Ritalin, Prozac, all these new drugs would come out. I was on a IEP back then. It was, the resource room, and I was stuffed on a beanbag when I would be all drugged up on these pills, and I would sleep. I wouldn't even get my schooling. So at the age of 6 years old, and I was in first grade, they're telling my mom I need all these drugs. He's ADHD, he can't focus, he can't do nothing in class, he's distracted easily. And so my mom, trying to be a good mom, she thought, this is what my son needs in order to get the schooling, the proper schooling. And so I was going through this, and this is where I've been able to trace my addiction issues. I was told as a 6-year-old kid I needed drugs in order to be normal. And so here I am stuffed in this resource room, already being isolated, already being incarcerated, already being separated from the normal peer group and made to feel like I don't belong, I'm not normal. And this is what happened to millions of kids from, the marginalized communities, black and brown, young kids were their parents being manipulated by these physicians. So this is where I've been able to identify the school to prison pipeline in my journey. I was already being separated, put in a classroom, drugged out, and so by the age of 10 years old, I'm exploding. These drugs that they would give me would make me become violent. I would become very aggressive. And so in school, I would tip over desks. I would just have bursts of energy come upon me when I'd be underneath these drugs that they were giving me. I would throw chairs, I would fight. And I started to, hang out with the local neighborhood kids, and they were like, man, that's Flaco Local. Crazy, he's with the business. And so I started to find my homies that embraced me, which were in the streets, and they loved me, and so I started to, be so doped up on these drugs that they were giving me. Then I started to say, nah, I don't want those drugs, because they started to make fun, like, oh, Flaco, you're on the short bus, you're on the little yellow bus, and all these things. So I started to find drugs in the streets, and I wasn't afraid to use drugs, because I already been using them. So I'm already getting methamphetamine. So, Ritalin, that's methamphetamine, you know what I'm saying? So as soon as I was introduced to cocaine and meth, I took it. So here I am, that's my upbringing in school. I didn't really learn much in my early days of elementary because I was so doped up and so stuffed away. By the age of 12, right when they could lock me up, that's exactly what they did. They'd been waiting for that moment. And so I was incarcerated at the age of 12 years old, and here I am locked up, and they're stuffing all these drugs in me. They're still putting all these drugs, telling me I need these drugs, and these drugs are making me act wild in my cell. But I started to recognize that, there was some good, incarcerated individuals that the staff would go to. And they would pop them out their cells, and they would let them have free reign to do whatever they wanted. And I used to trip out on it, like, why does he get to go out and go do laundry and all these different things, but I'm stuffed in my cell and I'm treated some type of way all the time? And it's not just me, it's numerous other people that are treated like this. So I started to see like these individuals that were, being co-opted by the staff, and then they were, being used as like puppets by the staff, by the administrative folks to try to control us or to tell on us, to make us feel like, oh, I'm better than you, and you need to listen to me. And like they became like, what we called like confidential informants, snitches. That's how we label them, like you're a sellout, right? So here I am in juvenile hall seeing this on into prison. So I get into prison, same thing. I'm in prison, I'll never forget it. The first time it happened, I'll never forget it. I was in the reception unit. I'm in the vent all the time talking to one of the homies downstairs, and he's kind of schooling me, like letting me know how it is, and one morning we go to breakfast, he sits down on the table, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? And they put handcuffs on him and they walk him out. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, hey, man, tell me on the yard, yeah, he PC'd up. And I was like, what the heck is this? I was like, PC'd up? And they're like, yeah, he went to protective custody. And I'm like, what's going on? And so next thing I know, I'm in Ironwood, and we're getting locked down, constantly locked down. And so the CEOs had said the mad kite dropper. They're dropping kites. They're saying you guys have guns. They're saying you guys have weapons, and you guys are, planning all this stuff. So you have these people that are dropping these kites and telling all this fake information that we ain't even doing it. So we're being locked down because of it. No programs, nothing. And then you start to see folks, cells getting raided. They have nothing in their cells. So you started to see that these individuals were selling out, and they were thinking they were gonna do something better, or they were gonna get better things. And so you started to see that. And it was really messed up. So it's like it was psychological abuse. And so now I'm in New Folsom, and my pad gets raided. They say I'm the one who's dealing all the drugs, and I'm the one that's just cleaning the showers. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm the main block dealer, and they dropped the kite on me, and so now I'm being thrown in the shoe, and they're telling me that I'm the main drug dealer, and I'm like, man, all I do is, sweep, mop, and pass a couple little envelopes for people. I'm just, a tear tender. And so these individuals that dropped the kite on me, said I was the main drug dealer. They found a broken cell phone in my cell. The screen didn't even work. You know what I'm saying? I was like, how could you even use it? Like the screen didn't work. It was a broken cell phone that I was hoping to fix one day. And so I'm in the shoe, and I'm about 2 years to the pad, and I'm just like, man, this is messed up. But that was my constant movement through incarceration since a juvenile. You've seen these individuals. So now here I am, we participated in the 2013 hunger strikes, and we got college units for the first time ever. They finally gave us books. They used to charge us for the books, and they would charge you like $1,200, and who wants to spend $1,200 on some books? We'd rather eat soups, and we'd rather eat some, dehydrated spicy beans, Like, ain't nobody trying to buy some books, right? But here they are giving us the books now after the 2013 prisoner hunger strikes. And so we started to study in there. So I started to study, and I got my first 2 A+ that I've ever gotten in my whole entire life. Now, be mindful, I slept on a beanbag predominantly my whole elementary, my middle school, all that. And so here I am getting these units. I get my first A+. I get out, I go to San Diego City College, and now I'm trying to put myself together and build myself up through the university. And here I am dealing with administrators who have no type of lived experience, have no type of connection to me whatsoever and my lived experience. And now I'm being poster child around by these universities, and they're tokenizing us, and I'm not understanding what's going on. So we built this paper around, and it's called Cuval Little Puppets, and it looks at the co-optation of these formerly incarcerated student programs in the university. And so we look at Gramsci's concept of passive revolution, which becomes crucial in understanding the co-optation of radical agendas in higher education programs. So the 2018 prison reform bill, we look at that, the First Step Act, which reflects this shift in this dominant group's interest in prison reform to maintain hegemonic power over the working class.
Hit the slides.
So these groups formed, these formerly incarcerated students showed up, and you're seeing everyone's coming from trauma. So everyone has this trauma background, this traumatic experience that they all went through. And so you've seen a bunch of formerly incarcerated students showing up to the university. The university was never prepared to have this type of group come in, but since financial aid changed and there's all these different changes, they were starting to see a lot more folks from the surrounding California communities show up to these community colleges, and now they're heading into the university. So we all organized, we came together, not understanding that there was another agenda above us, where we're building out our own programs, we're building out all these different things for our programs, and at the end of the day, they're getting funding. Millions of dollars came down to support these different programs, where it was us who were organizing it, but as soon as it became an institutionalized program, it was ripped away from us. So now here we are. We're in a new number going through a program, and this new number is just like the prison system, just like that. And so you had certain actors that were tapped in that became the institution's puppet, and they started to become actors that were supposedly supposed to be for us, but in the end, they started to turn against us. And so I experienced that throughout my journey. First, it happened over in UC Santa Barbara. Victor Rios was, was like, oh, I can't help you. I can't mentor you when I first got there. Then he showed up and started to see we were organizing our stuff and wanted to be a face in it. Then at the end of it, I tried to apply for the PhD. And instead of speaking up, when supposedly he came from our background, instead of battling for me, he just said, oh, I can't stand up. I can't do nothing for you. And so I had a cafecito with him, and he's telling me all this, and I'm just looking at him like, why wouldn't you stand up for your people? So, but they instead choose this administration that has no direct connection, and they become tokens for these administrations. And this tokenization that happens, they turn against. They rather go against you to keep their careers. And so it was very disappointing in my experience there. So here I am. I got accepted to Harvard, but UCSB denied me PhD access. And they should have brought me up because I created a whole program there. But they took the program over, fully funded program. They got the money, and it's in disarray. So now I go to UC Irvine to continue to build, not understanding it all. And I'm building at UC Irvine. Same thing at UC Irvine. The money comes down, $4 million from the state, and they turn against us, and they start to fragmentize us. They start to turn us against each other. And you see this divide and conquer play out, which was the same divide and conquer that went in juvenile hall, prison. Now it's inside the university right now as we speak. So here's what we're seeing. Now we're seeing it at the university level. And it's all about funding careers. It's all about people choosing $86,000 or $76,000 a year to turn against you and try to control you instead of working with you. So what we're saying is this, and because I have a few minutes left and I want to save time over here. We don't want to see this institutional bullying going on. So what we're asking for is trauma-informed care pedagogy. What we need to do is we need to look at the 4 R's of trauma-informed care. You just heard a lot of trauma. These individuals are now at the university. And to re-traumatize us is not the route. To work with us and be together as one and have us at the decision-making table, that's what we're calling for. So in this paper, we look at this. And so the 4 R's of trauma-informed care, realization about trauma and how it can affect people in groups. You heard a lot of trauma right here. Recognizing the signs of trauma, respond to trauma, having a system in place to do this effectively, and resisting re-traumatization. So I've been re-traumatized throughout my journey in higher ed. When I'm just trying to get my life together, I'm just showing up to do the right thing, and it's like now we're at these universities doing the right things, right? We're doing the right things, and we're still being treated some type of way. We're still being exiled. We're still being X'd out. We're being used as pawns in a Ponzi scheme. And that's not correct. And there's no research going on about these programs. Nobody's researching these programs. And I'll tell you what, there hasn't even been an evaluation of these programs. So here we are dumping $15 million into Rising Scholars, and they ain't even had an evaluation. Here we are dumping $12 million into Project Rebound, and there hasn't even been an evaluation. Here we are dumping $4 million into Underground Scholars, and there has never been an evaluation of how these programs are righteously helping formerly incarcerated individuals. So that's what we're calling for. Trauma-informed care pedagogy. Let us be at the table. Let's not tap actors in. Let's take a bottom-up approach instead of this top-down approach that the UC has always approached everything with. Let's start at the bottom now. Let's build up. If we're going to bring marginalized individuals that come from trauma into the university, it's time to work with them and help them build up themselves at the same time while building up the university together as one. And so again, that's my call today. And so I have this, and I just want to save time, and the conclusion is ensuring on authentic empowerment, recognizing potential challenges, proactive steps for safeguarding program integrity, and creating a higher education system that serves all students. Solid.